You don't need to be a homeowner or property developer to know that the golden rule of real estate is location, location, location. There are, however, times when that principle is taken to a whole new level. Let's do this, Fred.
Welcome to GIDEON'S ROADSHOw. In the world of luxury real estate, the word unique is overused and often unwarranted. Not, however, in the case of Lake Geneva's Villa Bellevue. For this century-old home, its contemporary wing, entertainment suite, bars, pool, tennis court, lakeside access, and so much more that I'm about to introduce to you is most certainly one of a kind. But first, let me set the scene. I'm going to take you for a very quick spin around the neighborhood, for a look at what it is that makes both this French part and the Swiss part of Lake Geneva and the lifestyle on offer for the owner of this home unparalleled. For a drive around here, my choice of wheels is key, and so it has to be an Aston Martin, and at that, a Vanquish, a car that was launched here on the shores of Lake Geneva some 20 years ago. So let's hit the road and get a taste of life around Villa Bellevue. So, what lies outside the gates of this super prime real estate? First and foremost, there's Geneva, the world's epicenter for private banking, home to the likes of Rolex and Patek Philippe and the United Nations. There's Lausanne, with its promenade of Belle Epoque hotels. There are the two pearls of the Riviera, Montreux, with its world-famous jazz festival, and Vevey, where milk chocolate was invented. There is the bewilderingly romantic 12th century Château Chillon. Fertile wine country to the north of the lake. This is also cheese heaven. And of course, there is the 700-year-old Ivoire right on the doorstep of Villa Bellevue. With its castle, ramparts, and fortified gates, this village is designated amongst the most beautiful villages in France. That's not bad for a neighbor. Of course, there are also the Alps. On a clear day, snow-capped peaks are visible from the property. But if a view alone is not enough, the likes of Verbier, Chamonix, Morzine, and the super chic Megève are a short drive or an even shorter helicopter flight away. Breakfast on the lake, and lunch or fondue on the slopes. There's of course no shortage of accommodation at Villa Bellevue, but for guests who need or wish to stay elsewhere, top of my list sits the 5-star Hotel Royal and its spa, a stone's throw away in the adjacent town of Évian-les-Bains. This is unsurprisingly one of the leading hotels of the world and has even been awarded palace status in France. There are 150 rooms and suites, and not only are there 2 spas, but also a thermal spa featuring the only pool in the world filled with Evian. The ultra-luxurious hotel is also home to Europe's only women's major golf tournament, the Amundi Evian Championship. That means there's no excuse for not working on that handicap, considering that the local course is one of the best in the world. Before I pop upstairs to the most VVVIP of suites, there's time for a quick drink.
Your Evian, Mr. Langlady.
Merci beaucoup, Blondie.
With pleasure.
Unfortunately, on this occasion, that drink won't be shaken, not stirred. I am driving after all. Other hotels freely bestow grand names upon their best rooms, but at the Hotel Royal, where the visitors book has consistently included celebrities, presidents, and royalty, this, the grandest suite, occupies the entire length of the top floor.
And so this really is the presidential suite.
it's time that I showed you Villa Bellevue. But first, I'm going to burn a little rubber and lap up a few mountain passes and woodland lanes. Because there's something really special about driving an Aston Martin around Lake Geneva. Something very James Bond. That shouldn't be surprising, as 007's creator, Ian Fleming, lived in Geneva and may well have been one of the many glitterati to have visited Villa Bellevue.
Just listen to that V12.
This particular model, a Vanquish S, boasts a 520 horsepower, 6-litre V12 and reaches a very comfortable 200 miles per hour. When it was new, this supercar was written up as one that devours the straight bits with relish, but has a ravenous appetite for corners. I'd say that was pretty spot on. Even at this time of year, the roads around here will pleasure the thrill seeker or the ambler to equal extent, which is just as well, because there will be times when a slightly more leisurely pace will be called for. Anyway, now that I'm back at the house, allow me to show you some of what lies within one of Europe's most exquisite and unique homes. This house makes no secret of its presence, elegantly defining itself against the horizon. It boasts an awe-inspiring and lofty checkerboard chimney up against a gravity-defying, steeply pitched roof, and it wears a hybrid of color-coordinated Normandy and Tudor-style architecture. Pulling into the motor court isn't simply for grand entrances, because it also presents an opportunity for the owner to showcase some alternative horsepower. Step over the 8-leaf clover mosaic, up to the front door, and you are propelled into a paradise of perfection. A marble and oak entrance hall leads directly into the main entertaining rooms of the house, which are separated not by walls, but by reflections of the lake beyond and by the most sumptuous and distinguished of interior design, allowing these rooms to simply melt into the outdoors. The furniture, lighting, and artwork, in fact, all of the finishing touches, have been sourced piece by piece from all corners of the globe. Rather apt, really, when you consider that Lake Geneva is about as global a slice of Europe as there could be. Ideas of formal and informal entertaining have certainly changed since this house was first built. However, irrespective of that, these rooms are phenomenal for entertaining, be that with family or friends, on a large or small scale.
This is certainly one of my favourite rooms in the house from the elevated position with its wraparound windows that are virtually floor to ceiling.
I should take this opportunity to explain that the lion's share of waterfront properties around Lake Geneva sit significantly lower than this one, meaning that this house boasts uninterrupted views, improved privacy, some might argue higher status, and a basement, which I shall come to later.
Say hello to the Premier Suite.
And Premier, Primary, Main, whatever you wish to call this suite, from the floorboards to the cornice, it's a charmer. It has a few things in common with the presidential suite at the Hotel Royal. It is accessed by elevator, it runs the entire length of the house, boasts a private lounge and its own dining area, which means that breakfast in bed could alternatively be breakfast in the bedroom. It has 2 dressing rooms to cater for,
well, haute couture. We are in France after all.
This suite is above all else relaxing. There is a tranquility and a warmth about this room that is challenging to achieve in homes of this scale, but that has been unequivocally mastered here. Even the 2 bathrooms that accompany it represent the best of the best of the best, with luxury spa-like showers, with sunken baths that would put the Romans to shame, and
with marble that just pops.
there is another similarity with the presidential suite at our favourite local 5-star hotel, namely that
Even on a grey day, the views from this balcony are just spectacular.
But it's not just the primary suite that gets to enjoy the main house.
Heading up!
With a selection of family and guest rooms, the main house offers ample further accommodation.
I must admit, I actually have a bit of a soft spot for the guest rooms, especially seeing as this house is designed for entertaining.
And with those guests and family members in mind, you will find no compromise in terms of the homeliness, interior design, and materials used to make everyone feel as at home as the owners themselves. And as for your choices,
it really doesn't matter which room you're in because they all boast exactly the same meticulous attention to detail.
there is also a spa, as all great houses need dedicated facilities for a little pampering.
Now, life is significantly easier for your professional chef when the prep kitchen is restaurant grade.
And when it has its own lift or elevator to the dining room. You'll find it in the basement, along with some of the staff quarters, the estate office, and that spa.
I could talk for days about all that this wonderful home has to offer, but even then, I would hardly have scratched the surface.
Now, for a home of this scale to have preserved its sense of warmth and comfort really is quite an achievement. Moving on from the main house, please forgive me if I share a little advice.
After enjoying all of the local delicacies, the cheese, the wine, and don't forget the chocolate, make sure you get some exercise in by doing a few laps in this rather delightful swimming pool.
Beyond the pool, there's a surprise waiting that both contrasts with and complements the house.
Welcome to the conservatory.
From this newly built glass masterpiece, you can immerse yourself in the bigger picture of both your house and your seemingly very own lake. Or you can try your hand at some entertaining.
Whether you are looking to host a massive party, a gala dinner, or a candlelit meal for two, this conservatory is quite simply unbeatable.
The conservatory is designed to be used and enjoyed, which is just as well as its appeal is overwhelming.
Furthermore, being in a foodie's paradise, the conservatory kitchen is as spectacular in its functionality as it is in its setting.
Think you've seen it all? Think again, as even a glass conservatory can have a few hidden secrets.
Now, whilst this might be a historic property, it also benefits from numerous mod cons, not least of which is this glass elevator that transports you to the entertaining level below ground. This level of the contemporary wing is totally multifunctional. It can serve either as a completely independent guest wing, along with 2 ensuite bedrooms and everything else that your guests could possibly crave, or alternatively, it serves as a secondary dining room for upstairs, as well as a home movie theatre.
With glass ceilings that flood these rooms with daylight and bathe them in moonlight, the woods, the leathers, the silks and suedes, the metalwork and attention to detail, it is all beyond compare. It doesn't get any better than this.
With regard to the guest suites, well, they are easily as homely and charming in their interior design as those of the main house.
Which is why your guests are not going to want to leave. Oh yes, there are separate but equally impressive facilities on this level for the pool. Now, let's fast forward and give you a glimpse of this evening upstairs. Dining is more than just a pastime here. Hence, the open-plan kitchen enabling your private chefs to both practice their art and whet the appetites of your guests. Sticking with this evening for another moment, the entire estate, from the pool to the conservatory and from the main house to the water's edge, transforms into even more of a magical wonderland once the sun has set, by way of the most sensational lighting.
Which makes nocturnal strolls through the landscape grounds all the more tantalizing.
Meanwhile, back to the here and now, and my role as your tour guide continues.
This is more than just a home. This entire estate, sympathetic to the lake that has energized the region for millennia, is a living work of art.
With 4 levels from the house to the marina, there is no need to walk. A custom-built funicular, lift or elevator has been installed to make life that little bit easier.
With the lake being life and soul of the party around here, it should come as no great surprise that this particular home further boasts its own waterside bar.
Whether for sunrise with a croissant and coffee, as the ultimate venue for cocktail hour, or as the arrivals and departure lounge for journeys across the lake, this is yet another feature of an estate that cuts no corners.
Of course, the key ingredient to enjoying waterside living is having access to that water. That is why this property is one of probably no more than 10 or 12 around the entire lake with private marina. But to go one step further, it's certainly worth noting that this home does not possess one marina, it possesses 2. Drop the mic.
Footnote: the property also boasts 2 entire further residences, a boat garage, pool, and tennis court. But I'll leave all of that for another day.
This is not merely a house that is on offer. This is a lifestyle. And to be frank with you, it is a lifestyle in a location that simply cannot be replicated.
For now, I'm heading back to Lausanne for a drink with some friends. Though this time, it will be shaken, not stirred. Thank you for joining me on this tour of Villa Bellevue and for a taste of the lifestyle and region that accompany it.
So join me next time for another episode of Gideon's Roadshow. Cheerio!
From Lake Geneva, from Villa Bellevue, and from me, it's over and out.